Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for being here. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to tripod headstand. So like any other inversion, it is very important first of all to understand how to establish a safe and solid base and then build up from there. In the case of the tripod headstand, the word tripod already tells what the base is gonna be like. In this case, there are three main points that will form the base of our inversion. It will be the head and both our hands. Now, these 3 points need to be placed in a certain way in order to be able to distribute the weight fairly in the 3 of them. So let's take a look at the way we set up the base of our tripod. Now, these 3 points need to be placed in a certain way in order to distribute the weight fairly within the 3 of them. So, to me, from my experience, the best way to remember this is to imagine a triangle in front of us. The highest point will be the head, and the 2 lower points will be our hands. Why a triangle? Because sometimes what we tend to do is we tend to place our hands at the same height that our head, and as you can see there, it is a straight line, so the weight will have a little bit more chance of going either back or forth without us being really able to catch it before actually falling. Now, what it can happen as well is that we don't really understand which part of the head should we place on the floor. It is really difficult to say exactly a point. There are no measures, but more or less around the crown of your head, it has to be like a middle point, right, between your forehead and the back of your head. Because if we put it too much to the front, we're gonna kind of have the face like this. If we put it too much to the back, we are gonna be rounding the cervical spine too much. So we need to find the middle point in order to be able, again, to support the weight on our head better than if we would be all collapsing either way. What happens with the rest of the arms, right? So we say, okay, cool. We place the hands on the corners. The head is gonna go into the middle line. And now what do I do? What do I do with my arms? What do I do with my legs? Now the idea is, first, remember that the hands go wide. Always when you want to do an arm balance, when you want to do a hand balance, when you need to put your hands on the floor, remember to keep a spread finger because it gives you more space and it is also a bigger base than if you would have your fingers super close to each other, right? So spreading the fingers, more or less from the center line, more or less, you will find your comfortable distance in your own body. And then the head will go towards the front. Now, as you can see, there's a distance between my head and my hands. My hands are away. Then I'm gonna place my elbows facing back, not forward, because then we lose the hand stability, with the arm stability. Remember to keep the fingers active, that they will help you push you back in case you go too far, or push you forward in case you cannot really kick up. So from here, place the hand, elbows, hugging the body, tuck under your toes, and first of all, just lift the hips up and feel the weight. Now, the idea is that because we have these 3 points, we need to distribute the weight in the 3 points. So we cannot just have the hands resting there, not really working. We need to use the 3 of them so we take a little bit of weight from our head, because we might just lift the hips up and put all the weight on our head. The idea is to kind of start to wiggle the weight to see how can I help with my arms to create a better and more stable support, right? And not give all the weight to my head and neck. So elbows kind of together, place the hands, not together, but hugging the body. The head goes towards the front. And then we tuck under the toes and we lift the hips up. Now, at some point, the hips should be over the head, right? If I have my hips here and I try to kick up, I will never be able to kick up. So it's a good idea to lift the hips up, go into your tiptoes, and walk your feet forward. Now, walking your feet forward, making it closer to your body, doesn't mean that you walk your feet and you also throw all your weight back, because you're going to end up doing a cool roll. So we place the hands, we place the head, we lift the hips up, we keep the head where it is, and we just try to bring the legs as close as we can to the body. Once we feel that our thighs are almost touching our belly, we can start to play by maybe lifting one leg, the other one, perhaps a tiny little ball. We lift one and then the other one, and you will see, you will feel when you lift both your feet off the floor, there you will perceive even more the ability of your arms to help you support this base. Because at that moment, you will feel your arms getting a little bit more tense because there is more weight to wiggle around. All right, so now we know that the base of the pose should form a triangle where the head is the highest point and the arms are the lowest two angles. We know that our fingers need to be spread and active in order to wiggle the weight in case we go forward or backwards. We know that our elbows should be facing back and parallel to each other. But there is something also that comes with any inversions, really. That is the fact that we might fall. Now, in order to fall safely, my recommendation can be either to do it against the wall or to create like a fort full of cushions and all the pillows that you can find in your house, in your neighbor's house. Create a little fort so in case you fall backwards, you land on the cushions and you don't land on your back against the floor, which can be a lot of impact. Building up any pose, really, that is challenging, little by little, getting used to every step of the way, I believe it is a much better idea in order to feel safer and not being scared, really, of finally lifting up the legs. So I know we all really want to get to a headstand that is straight line with the body. I understand. Trust me, it will happen. But we do need to build up little by little to get used to the weight. So instead of just kicking up, as I said before, use the wall, use all your cushion fort, place your base, lift up your hips, and maybe you can go one leg on one arm, over one arm, and the other leg over the other one. So you have kind of a security here. Then you can little by little lift off the knees. And then little by little, you will finally manage to lift up your legs off the floor. So, build it slowly, be gentle, go little by little, practice against the wall like so. Again, walk your feet close to you, lift your legs, and maybe you can use the wall and just lift off one leg, then the other one, and perhaps two. We will achieve it very little by little if you've never done this before, but we need to learn to try to keep the spine in a safe position, right? Don't round the spine like this because it's a lot of weight on our neck, or not arching the spine. Wait, like so, like this, right? We need to try to control, keep it together, keep a nice and long spine, and we will see that slowly we will build up the security we need to be able to move our legs, put them up, or just do all the floreos that we want to do on our tripod. As well, something that is important to remember is that we shouldn't have our shoulders all shrunk close to our ears, all pressure. It's better to make space between your shoulders and your ears. Now, what do we do with the fear, right? It might happen that on inversions we get scared, and it's absolutely, completely normal. And it happens to most of us when we start practicing any inversion, really. So my advice, in order to kind of ease down the fear, is to visualize, right? Take some time, close your eyes, and visualize yourself doing an amazing tripod headstand, even if you've never seen yourself doing one. The power of the imagination is awesome. Imagine, really, really work hard on imagine very detailed the image of you doing a tripod headstand, but also close your eyes and visualize how it would look like to fall safely, right? Because if visualizing is another way of, a very safe way of telling the brain, hey brain, it's all good even if I fall, right? So visualization for any kind of inversion, super important, super effective. It's not like you're gonna lay down, you're gonna imagine it, and then you're gonna do the best tripod of your life. We still need to train progressively, but it does help a lot when it comes to removing a little bit the fear of actually standing on our head and our hands. All right, I promise that this is the last but not the least, is the fact that our wrists are in this position, right? They are extended, like so. And through our arms, coming from our neck, we have a bunch of nerves that feed our fingers. These nerves go through the shoulder, the elbow, the wrists, and they reach the fingers. Now, it might happen that in some positions, like so, or like a side plank, right, where we really put some weight on a wrist, it might feel slightly uncomfortable, it might be a little bit painful. So I do recommend that if this is the case, to give a good warm-up to your fingers, to your wrists, work on strengthening your wrists and fingers, but also you can floss your awesome nerves that feed your fingers and perhaps release a bit of the tension that you might be feeling on wrists and fingers. I do have a wrist and hands warm-up in case you want to go check it out. We do nerve flossing and we train to strengthen our wrists as well. All right, I hope that you have enjoyed this little video on how to tripod headstand, and I hope to see you on the next class very soon. Bye-bye.